Hey everybody, common question is, believe it or not, a lot of people ask me how much horsepower can you drive on the street. I'm going to show you because I'm here to tell you I've driven a lot of stuff, and this is an extremely scary thing to drive on the road. So this is my Trailblazer. You guys saw a little bit of video of it before, and this thing makes 1,000 horsepower at the hubs on race gas, but it makes 700 horsepower on the hubs on pump gas, and it's a daily driver tune. So 700 horsepower is just under 1,000 horsepower, because this is a 4L80E transmission, so they do rob some more horsepower than what a typical 400, or definitely what a stick shift transmission does. Quite a bit more difference there. So in that 700-ish range, it's just under 1,000 horsepower at the crankshaft. And I'm here to tell you 1,000 horsepower at the crankshaft is a handful to drive on the road. Everybody that's ever driven this has always gone, that's a good way of getting hurt. And they're exactly right. This thing it's a little dicey. It can get out of control. Most of the time, because it's a turbo car, turbo Trailblazer. Let me show you all around there. But because it's turbo, it's lazy and has lag. And I'll explain all that to you here in just a second. And so it's got this weird laziness, lag, and then once it lights up, it's got hard 22-inch top, 22-inch wheels and tire combo on it, and it's a little dicey. So, anyways, let's go over the engine build here. So this is a LS3 based combination. So this is the stock 6.2 block. This has let's see, this has a Molnar 3.662 stroke crankshaft, so the stock stroke crankshaft. Still a hydraulic roller. I'll talk to you about that in a second because it's totally different. Has a 6125 hour connecting rod in it. Has a diamond piston that's 9.5 to 1. So really made this just super safe. Trying to be just be super safe, because I drive it on pump gas all over the place all the time. Very rarely do we go on race gas. Now, I did have this all running, and if you saw what I was doing was, I talked about that I was redoing the engine in this. Well, I had a broken valve spring, and when I broke the valve spring, I was driving it around enough that the broken valve spring wasn't closing the exhaust valve enough, and it burned the exhaust valve. Well, by that time it was running so badly that I figured, well, I'm just going to rebuild it anyways. So I took it out, rebuilt it, just put new valve springs in it, but kept everything else the same. Now, I talked to you about that camshaft. Something else you're going to find that I'll tell you about is really different with this, is that this camshaft is a 18436572 firing order. So this is the standard Chevrolet firing order, not a LS firing order. If you ask me why I did that, I had a bunch of people at the time. I built this a long time ago. I had a bunch of people at the time that said, you know what, I hate the way LS's sound. I like the way the old conventional small block Chevys sound. And it's like, well, primarily that would just be a firing order change. And I said, you know what, I think I'm going to just mess around with this, and I'm going to have a camshaft made, my normal camshaft made for this combination, but have it made in a standard firing order, a standard old school firing order, instead of the current LS one. So I had dynoed this a million years ago on the engine dyno with the LS firing order, and with the exact same camshaft in a standard firing order. Doesn't make a difference. Sorry to tell you. Now, I did dyno it NA. I just dynoed it like as well as NA, and it's a boosted camshaft, but NA it made within 1% of horsepower. I mean, so it's basically no difference. But it does sound different. I will give you that. It does sound different. So this entire combination here with that camshaft, and the only other new thing they did is I put one of my billet intake manifolds on it, just because I wanted it to look a little bit cooler. I'm going to tidy up a bunch of stuff in here after I get done doing this and building it. I'm actually sending this over to my wiring guy, to Alex Bowman, and him and Andy Chop did the wagon, and this thing it's just nasty wiring, and they do such a nice job. So after I'm all done with this, we're just going to send it over to have him rewire everything and tucked and clean and make everything nice and correct and all that kind of stuff. But we have a billet intake manifold just because it looks cool. You can see this thing still has AC, power steering, AC, all the normal crud, because this is stock, different radiator, stock, except this is the intercooler. So this is the intercooler system because the turbo is a mid-chassis mount. So mid-chassis mount, 5,300 pounds is the last time I weighed this thing. 5,300 pounds stock, but Trailblazer. I got some other stuff for it because this used to be all-wheel drive. Used to be four-wheel drive, actually. And right over here, if anybody is interested in all my four-wheel drive stuff that I just took out of here, I have the stock all-wheel drive transfer case, and I also have the four-wheel drive 215, or is it 210? Can't remember which one it is. Transfer case. So you can actually select and put it in gear, and two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Have the half, well, I don't have the half shafts anymore. This is the front differential, then the transmission pieces that go through there, and I even made my own half shafts, or not half shaft, I even made my own jack shaft for the front differential because I was breaking them, because the last time we took this down the drag strip, this was the fastest four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive Trailblazer in the country, because stock sitting like that on these 22-inch tires, not a drag radial. You can see the rear tires right back there. We went 996 at 148, I think it was, on these tires, and atrociously bad 60 foot. So it was really fast, but I wanted to just convert it over to two-wheel drive because it's got some vibration problems when you put four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive stuff. The CV joints and the half shafts vibrate at certain angles. So I was tired of that. So you know what? I hadn't put it in four-wheel drive in over 2 years. I'll just take it all out and just put two-wheel drive stuff on it and just go do burnouts and have fun with it. So let me show you the turbo stuff. Like I said, this is the intercooler. I gave you all the pertinent information on the engine. It is a 4070 bore, so I think that makes it 3. What does it make? It makes it 3, but stock stroke, so 6.2, 4070 bore. I know what the 4-inch stroke one is. I think it's still a 360 something cubic inch. But anyways, that doesn't really matter. Down here, let me show you the turbo. Now, I said it is mid-mount under chassis, which means it is right there. Let me see if I can get a little better shot of it. There you go. Still a filter on it. And that is directly, and this is a full exhaust. So the exhaust goes all the way out the back. Control arms. This is still stock suspension. As a matter of fact, this is still a stock rear end. And I mean stock rear end. Never done anything with the center section, never done anything with this other than lower it and put control arms on it. So that turbo is sitting right here under that seam. And so it's a pretty cool deal. And gives it, that's what makes it really laggy. So this thing lags quite a bit because the turbo is so far back and it has full exhaust on it. Now I do have a cutout on it. The cutout is under here. And I got the cutout on right now. Let's see. Yeah, there's the cutout. I just took the cap off, and otherwise we'd run it through full exhaust. Which on the you see the wastegates, two wastegates, and Turbo Smart stuff. And then it goes up to that intercooler in the front. So let's see. That's what's underneath. I did do lots of front end work trying to keep the front end in it when I was trying to break that 9-second deal. And like I said, now that I've done it, there's really no sense going any farther with it. Let's see, motor, got all that stuff. Just convert it further. Oh, Tim is on the camera right now, and Tim's prior life in his younger years when he was like 10 or something, does wrap work and so he's the design guy and one of the chief installers for doing wrap. So we were gonna wrap this thing. I'm a little tired of the black, and because it's so freaking hard to keep clean. And it's got nice paint on it, but it is so hard to keep clean. I thought, you know, let's wrap it. Since you used to do wrap work, let's wrap it. So this is the color wrap that we're gonna do it, and it's really sweet blue. And we're just deciding how much that we're gonna wrap. If we're gonna wrap the whole thing, or just like part of it and do something kind of cool with it. So we're trying to figure that out. Inside the Blazer, it is stock. You can see I have the Holley ECU up on it right now. I have the Holley dash right there. It pops up here all blue. There you go. So I have the Holley dash in it. It is stock. You'll see that there is no roll cage, nothing like that. Everything is stock glass. All the seats are in it. There's nothing that's taken out of this thing. And like I said, it weighed 5,300 pounds when we went 960s with it. You can see it is butt stock. It's just the old black leather interior that was in it from the beginning. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you, we've already done the, well, we're actually done with all the tunes, so I thought I would just show you dyno pull here and then show you the numbers on pump gas, which is our daily driver deal, which is very dicey to drive, because everybody, my favorite thing is pulling up on the highways and going on the entrance ramps, because it just kind of just takes off, and it's just so smooth and so fast, and all of a sudden you're on the entrance ramp and you're going like 120, 130, getting on the ramp, and it's and you're turning. I mean, it's dicey. I mean, this isn't a freaking Lamborghini. I mean, this is a 5,300 pound Trailblazer. So it's a little hairy when you're doing that. So always remember, 1,000 horsepower is like the magic number I tell everybody. Once you get above that, they're really not even any fun to drive, because you can't even really do anything with them. So we're going to put the camera over on the tripod. We'll make a pull on this thing. I'm going to show you all the numbers. Oh, and let me tell you too, so we don't have the hood on it, because that was, obviously we just haven't put the hood back on because I took it off to put the engine in and out of it. Oh, and all of my activities of entrance ramp and how fast things are, we had done that all in Mexico. We don't do any of that stuff here in the States. We drive 55 or the speed limit everywhere. That was just the pump gas pull there. And so right down here on the bottom, in fact, I got two screens here, so I'll show you here. So this line right here is the pump gas tune that we just did, and you can see 690.7, and it usually makes a little bit more than that, but it's cold. That's first hit for today. But the 690 horsepower, like I said, about 700, and that's on pump gas. That's 15 pounds of boost. And then, so that, oh, I'm sorry, you know what, that turbo, the turbo is a single bullseye turbos, single 83 millimeter. So I showed you the turbo, but I didn't even talk about it. Sorry about that. So that's a single 83 millimeter. I believe that has a 125 or 115 AR on it. But anyways, you can hear it's a little bit lazy. The dyno kind of grabs it, catches it, pulls it back down so the boost can build up, and then it takes off. So 690, 15 pounds of boost, and the next one where we rev it up just a little bit more, up into that 7,000 range. This was at 6,700 RPM or so on pump gas is all I ran up to. I take it up to 7,000 on the race gas, and that is 1,008 horsepower at 6850, so about 7,000 RPM, and that is with 23 pounds of boost. So 23 pounds of boost, 1,000 horsepower at the tires, that's around 1,200, a little over 1,200, and 700 horsepower at the on the pump gas tune. It's a little under 1,000 horsepower at the crankshaft. So when you see my Blazer out there, like I said, we drive around with the air on all the time. I mean, it's just a daily driver deal, and maybe it'll be blue the next time you see it. So anyways, something a little bit different, a little bit cool. You guys asked about what about the Trailblazer, and so there you have it. So we're gonna take this thing off the dyno and take it over to the wiring guy, have him clean up all my wiring disaster I got going on here for the last few years, and take care of that, and then we're gonna start wrapping it. Or we'll probably wrap it first, won't we, Tim? Then we'll take over there.
Yeah, whenever.
One of the others. So anyways, I'm Steve Morris. Have a great day.